Welcome back from the break. Let's get straight into the finals at Melton.
Finals time for our 350s now, and in third position was the Liquid Rush machine, Glenn Roberts, the pilot, and he ran a 53.22, which is an unbelievably quick time. Next to approach the starter's orders in his Red Raw machine was Mark Garlick, having a storming run, pulling a 52.958, knocking off Glenn Roberts, but was it going to be quick enough to win the final? The final boat to approach the starter for the day in the 350 category was Scott Roberts in the Liquid Rush machine, taking the boat over from his brother Glenn Roberts. He had a storming run, recording a 53.165. Good enough to knock off his brother, but not good enough to beat Mark Garlick in the Red Raw machine, who took the win. Finals time coming around now for our Group A competitors, and these guys have been absolutely chafing at the bit to get out on the course. First boat that we're going to see is Fonzie Mullen there in the Triple X machine. This boat magnificently prepared and has been running very, very hard and fast all day. The conditions look beautiful out there at the moment. Water nice and still. Sun glare could be a little bit of an issue now as we get later on into the afternoon here at this magnificent race course out at Melton. So down through the centre of the course, Fonzie now coming across some of his own boat wash, and some beautiful shots there off the transom of this magnificent Triple X machine. Oh, nearly about an inch offline there and nearly through the boat up onto the tyres. This proves that Fonzie's really throwing everything that he can down onto the water, and this is his last chance to dance out here today at the Melton Racecourse as he comes down the final straightaway through the flip-flops. It's going to be a good time, I think, for the Triple X machine. It is a 46.091. Next boat to approach starters' orders in our Group A final is Rowan Smith in the Doan Racing entry. Rowan Doan, they call him, due to his job at Doan Racing Jet Units, and that is what this boat is sporting off the transom at the moment, pushing very, very hard, and they'll be looking at beating Fonzie Mullen's time of a 46.091. So they charge down through the course now, conditions still looking absolutely ideal. The boat really on the edge here, in fact apexing the corners beautifully. They want to be careful not to touch any of those apexes and throw the boat up. Here we go, on board with Doan Racing, jumping and leaping over the centre of the course there. You really get a feel for how hard these guys are working, not only the drivers but the navigators as well, as they come down through the bottom of the course. They're about to complete the course. Is the time going to be quick enough? 46.24, not quick enough to knock off Fonzie Mullen on this occasion. World champion Slade Stanley approaches the line in his hazardous machine. The gorgeous green paint job on this particular boat leaps up out of the water, and this man is on a mission. He knows what it's going to take, and he's done it all before. So Slade peels the boat round, and the conditions still looking very, very nice indeed. This guy is really going to be on the hard charge. We go on board now. The jet unit, fantastic footage here at the moment. You can see the punishing that the exhaust system's copping out of the transom of this boat. Now back with the boat on board. He's got to beat Fonzie Mullen, and he's also got to knock off Rowan Smith with this time. We go back on board now, looking frontwards. Have a look at the centre of that course there. A few big rollers, and the boat's really leaping and jumping. These guys need to settle the boats before they turn them in. He's doing a fantastic job of that at the moment, and it is Slade Stanley looking like doing a good time. In fact, coming down through the bottom of the course and registering a 45.667 and taking the win. And finals time now for the super boats, the big bangers of sprint boat racing. Lifting itself up out of the water now is the Excalibur machine, Tony Gustosi. And have a look at this, pushing very, very hard, pulling 4Gs up into that top turn. These guys are running 500 plus cubic inch V8 engines on methanol, making around about 800 foot-pounds of torque. These things absolutely flying now up into the 130 kilometre an hour bracket as he charges down through the course. Tony Gustosi, of course, running this boat along with Mick Carroll, who will be running the boat a little bit later on. He's going to have to try and knock it. Oh, a little bit of a bunny hop and a leap there. The boat a little bit untidy, but will they post a good time as they come screaming around the top of the course? Oh, fabulous shot there of the boat really twisting and weaving through the finish course, and Tony Gustosi records a 47.088. The More True Blue machine approaching the starter's orders now. Phil Dixon has been working tirelessly over the summer with this brand new combination to try and get it up to speed. He's put it in the final, and now he has a time of 47.088 set by Tony Gustosi to try and knock off. The boat looks sensational on the water. Let's see what he can do. Can he take this down? Of course, Phil, an absolute doyen of the sport of sprint boat racing, has been doing it a very, very long time and certainly knows the deal. Here at Melton, he has raced plenty. So has this brand spanking new More True Blue machine got the goods to take the win here? Oh, and a little bit of a hook there for Phil, so that will have cost him some valuable time. In fact, very lucky not to throw the boat up onto the bank and throw it away. He's angry with himself now, really throws the boat home, comes through in a time of 46.825. Phil's time quick enough to hold out Tony Gustosi, but will it be quick enough to hold out Mick Carroll, who's up next in the Excalibur machine? Mick Carroll launches the boat up off the line, and I tell you what, Tony Gustosi and his crew must be absolutely ecstatic with this Excalibur machine. They've been working very, very hard on the boat all weekend, and they've put the boat into the Superboat finals twice, which is fantastic to see, and an incredible effort by this team. On board shots now as the boat really turns in hard, and from my perspective here, this looks like it's a quick run so far. The boat jumping and leaping over some of those rollers, and Mick Carroll really with the bit between his teeth out there now. The crew will be absolutely ecstatic that the boat has held together mechanically all weekend and is doing a great job out there with 2 appearances in the final. Now comes around looking like a good run through there, and it is a time of 45.776, beating Phil Dixon by over a second. The winner is Mick Carroll in the Excalibur machine.
The winners are smiling, so let's hand out the silverware and, of course, the bubbly.
Third place in the 350s was Glenn Roberts. Second place, Scott Roberts. And in first place, driving someone else's boat, Mark Garlick. In the 400s, third we had Rowan Smith. Second, Fonzie Mullen. And in first place, Slade Stanley. Down the super boats, third Tony Gustosi. Second Phil Dixon, straight out of hospital. And first Mick Carroll. Well done, boys. As the sun sets in the west down here at McPherson Park in Melton, it's all over, done and dusted for another day of V8 jet sprint boat racing. The boys and girls have put on a show for us today. As always, we've had Mark Garlick in the 350s take the win, Slade Stanley in the 400s, and of course Mick Carroll, the inaugural win for him in the Excalibur machine in the super class. So remember, whether you're belting it up the straight in V8 jet sprint boats or just sailing over your local pond, a bad day on the water is better than a good day at work. See you next week.